What's going on, folks? This is Dimitri back again. In this video we're going to discuss government shutdown and your money, how it's affected you, what we need to know in this shutdown, and what's going on and what's happening. We're going to address all those questions because, man, it's another day, it's another shutdown, it's another year, another shutdown. So not really pretty for a lot of people. So in this video we're going to discuss how we can actually get things together and address certain things. So it's a lot of things going on, so let's start it, right? So welcome back again to the channel. So where we discussing all money related issues and investments and your personal finances. So in this few sections we're going to discuss that. So let's get into it. How it feels first. Oh my god, well, that's a question, right, Dimitri? So so a lot of folks in the federal government, and especially like here in the United States, so that we're discussing here. So how it feels at first? Well, if you're a federal employee and you got in those categories of furlough or the delayed paychecks, man, well, definitely is going to be there. So because definitely that shutdown happened, and I think that not that long ago was like a month. It lasted a lot. So and this one right now, it's kind of in the situation where it's kind of strange. Like there's a discussion going on, there is no side of like discussions being put together and things like that. So and there's like threats of the mass layoffs and everything like that. So it's a lot of things going on. So federal employees gonna be hit hard in that sense. So federal contractors, oh man, when I was working there in the federal government and as a contractor, man, I can tell you this much. So definitely we were basically a lot of things being used like PTO and things like that. So but in the sense that if that thing wouldn't processed well or things like that, so I remember that one been a few years ago. Yeah, it's been a lot of so it's very uncertain for contractors, especially because that's a lot of things going on there. They often don't get paid and because some people just get like using paid time off to cover the expenses or anything like that. So it's a very uncertain thing really in that situation. So quick act like local, especially as well as the local business as well. So there's a lot of businesses live on or get their income from proceeds from from purchases in the federal government in DC. So in DC, a lot of folks, they don't go to work, especially in the local side of things. So like restaurants and all that, it's getting there too. So quick fact, it's in the past shutdowns, like over, oh my god, 800,000 employees went weeks without paycheck. Man, I've been like putting this together at the beginning, so with my notes and iPad here, man, it's crazy. Like like you getting those numbers, it's astonishing. So nonetheless, section number 2, which is going to be ripple effects that we're going to discuss. So what's happening really? So what's going to be affected? Slow processing, that's for sure. So things that gonna be there. So and as there's a good note there, I discussed this thing with my friend of mine the other day. So if you guys in the real estate world and you utilizing the or having that paycheck coming from the not federal government, but like you utilizing the vouchers and things like that, so that's things going to be affected, unfortunately, because it all ties together at the end of the day. So and I didn't know that for sure, but I wanted to talk to you and let you know that on a good authority that I had a conversation with the person who actually utilized it, one of the landlord who utilizes that. Well, I hope he got things right in that sense, but the information that I got from him that I got is that like, hey, if it goes all the way to the month through the month, so it won't get paid. So that's one of those things that the government should have done that, whatever done it, but yeah, it's not gonna get processed. So if that goes into it, so right. So nonetheless, that's the ripple effect, right? So delayed things, delayed funds, slow processing. So Social Security Medicare checks still coming, but claims, customers, it's everything is very, very slow. And also you probably saw in the news there's a special reply that they're getting there. So yeah, it is what it is. So there's gonna be interesting things. So, but interestingly enough, stock market, even though it's a more or less private sector there, so investors sometimes you get really like uncertain graphs and price changes and anything like that, because investors react to uncertainty, and another because is some of the businesses, they directly tied into the government and processing their things there. So that's ripple effect, right? So things getting noticed and getting slower, and some people like loans, especially FHA loans, USDA loans, man, that's another stall. So housing get affected. So it's a ripple effect, really. So there's a lot of things that are going to be affected, right? So that's where it is. Section number 3, right? Number 3 that we can discuss is what's the difference in this shutdown, right? So, well, there's definitely the discussion that's going on as a healthcare, right? So the payments that can be happening there, there's one of the biggest one right there. So another one, or more like on the actual like processing level, on the practical level, contractors and hybrid workers, bigger income gaps there. So more contractors, it's going to be income gap there, and especially for contractors, man, it's gonna be things that there needs to be, like, especially like a lot of folks go into credit and do those, and well, it is what it is, right? So that's I mean, yeah, that's kind of hard really to be thinking about it. So fintech banking, right? So if there's some delays in money ripple through faster, right? So there's delay in funding, especially in housing that we discussed, right? So it's going to be delayed in processing because it goes all the way to the things that they taking money from the federal government, so and things like that. So yeah, so there's that. How now in this section, the last section, they were like not last, but what needs to be done. So how can we address this, like in the situation that happens? So let's say like you have been affected too by the shutdown and things like that. So what can you do or should have done or had done, like if you if you've been in this channel for a little bit, so and like and subscribe if you haven't been, so do set up emergency fund. This is one of the biggest reminders that we have right now. So this is another call to action, right? So like a wake-up call. Hey, there are uncertain times that happen in this day and age, and what I'm talking about here is the money moves, right, that we need to make, and it's better to have this is a call action basically to, hey, set up emergency fund. So that set up emergency fund when things like get not super pretty and like really uncertain. So, and it's folks get sad, especially like myself, well, not myself, but some certain things that they're on involvement, but you gotta set up emergency fund. So I had that emergency fund. So for sometimes around from now every now and then, emergency fund is a good thing. So 3 months, 6 months emergency expenses is a good thing to have, so that, like, let's say something like this happened, like an emergency situation, hey, you have that money that you can fall over to, so that you can take and open the basically emergency fund expenses and basically support yourself. Then you can trim. Another thing that you can do is the trim expenses, trim subscriptions, trim dining and things like that. So a lot of folks, they use a lot of money for a lot of unnecessary things. So let's say subscription, and folks have been talking about it, like even on the news I heard that. So, and that's a good thing that we have that practice, like, of the cutting off expenses, and that's a good thing. So if you haven't done that, so here, that's another wake-up call. So hey, do you really need this subscription? Do you really need that subscription? Dining, like extra, like spending a lot of more money than unnecessary. So you don't need to purchase like $500 steak somewhere in the downtown, wherever, or like anything. So basically not the luxury, whatever, even though like I'm not against those things, but you know, if something not right in that sense, so you don't really need to buy, but you know, you know what I'm saying, right? So don't buy that. if it's not necessary, right? Talk to creditors, right? So if you have a lot of like, you know, if you have like a mortgage or anything like that, so it would not you know, hurt to ask some things like, hey guys, you know what, like, hey, I need this, do you have any programs or anything like that? I'm gonna like kind of want to check it out, so what's going on. So and things you know, like some of the folks, and you know, like let's say there was a situation with there was a disease that, like, you know, the epidemic that went on for like in 2019, the Rona thing. And that was really a good thing that the creditors did in that sense, and that in that time they basically allowed some program not to pay you know, rent, like interest rate on the mortgage or whatever. So like basically, you know, extended on the later days, so which is very nice in the sense like, hey, if you like in a hard situation, you can do that, right? So, and there's an option like that. So you know, and that's you know, very very nice to have, like if there is a, you know, program such as like from creditors, right? So another thing that you can try is diversify your income, right? Side hustles, freelance, gig work, things like that. So let's say in the United States there's a lot of good side hustles and things like that, and like one that recently I remembered myself, right? So like, and it's a Lyft or Uber or delivery options or things like that, or just support, like, you know, it's a cleanup business, side hustles. And we talked about this a lot, like in this channel. So there's a lot of side hustle going on, a lot of good side hustle that you can try and partake, and not going online, not like going too deep into IT or whatever. So that's another good thing to try, right? So avoid debt traps, right? That's another thing that you can try and move and do them like money wise, that don't let that short-term crisis turn into years of payment, right? So what does thing, right? Like, I mean, yeah, it happened a lot, so it happened unfortunately, right? So I hope that the government get things together and actually process this, United States government, I mean, right? So, and process this budget and without anything like that. So but nonetheless, so here's the thing, so don't go and like put it all into it, and especially like go ahead and spend it on like random stuff, like, you know. So try avoid it. So if there's an opportunity, if there is an option, like do extra side hustle, do extra work, get extra buck basically. So instead of going into credit, that would be a good thing, right? So that would be a good thing. So nonetheless, let's look at the big picture. So the big picture, government may pause, right? So, well, in this sense here, we actually have that. So it's been already a few days now, and I actually was been debating, like, do a video on this or do a video on the other topic or whatever. So, but you know, I couldn't get past that. So it's very very important to understand, and like, hey, we can do some moves here, and instead of like, you know, sitting like, you know, and feel sad about yourself, like, you know, but you can actually do some side work and things like that. So don't go into like, you know, depression mode. So this is very you know, depressing, right? So for the lack of words. So but like, hey, so we can still think like we can do things. So we can do side hustle, we can address, like, you know, hey, you know, get things together, and hey, government may pause, right? So, and that's in the final here on the ending section here. So government may pause, but bills won't, unfortunately, right? So, well, so if you're a federal government worker, brace yourself, guys. So we're with you. So, and you know, we're gonna get through this. So ripple effects, you know this, so we know what to do. We know those little, you know, like steps and where we can take and go. And so, you know, if in Washington is not working, so we can still do some work and, you know, side hustle, address our budget, like, you know, and get into emergency fund. If you didn't get into emergency fund, well, you sure we have to have it, right? So, and that's another wake-up call. So from all this. So this is another wake-up call for us that hey, uncertainty happens, right? So uncertainty happens, life happens, so, and things happen. So to have that emergency fund under your belt somewhere in you know, have a you know, kind of treasury chest, like basically a chest that, you know, can you can go to and that pull up that emergency money and actually support yourself in that situation. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. So like and subscribe down below. So what kind of, you know, strategies, drop in a comment below though too. So what kind of strategies you probably or want to partake or think to partake in the future or in this time of the year and things like that. So thank you guys again for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you know, with you guys. So wherever you at in the process there. So but you know what, hey, we're with you. So and like and subscribe down below. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Dimitri is out. See you guys next time.